Hello, here's my Sparkle session roundup from our fabulous session with Neema. So Neema is someone I've known, but we've never met in person. We've met about once a month for a virtual coffee for about 2 years now. And she generously was happy to share about her experience of starting a Substack. And the starting the Substack is kind of the outward manifestation, but the inner part of that is creating the conditions and giving herself permission to talk and write about the things she really wanted to talk and share about after possibly years of wanting to, but either not feeling it was okay to or not knowing how to, not having a safe enough space. So my kind of takeaways from the session are Neema was really clear about the fact that she has been exploring how to share and what to share. And one of the first things she said was how she had this idea that she wanted to be really witty in her writing and on Substack, because of people who she really enjoys reading come across as very witty and they're kind of really funny. She said, but actually she tried it and it just didn't work. It just didn't work for her. And actually what she decided to do in the end was to write the way she would write at work. So one of the things she said she really didn't want to do in her Substack was to write. She writes business cases, she writes kind of documents to persuade, she writes kind of reports in her work. She didn't want to be writing that, but she took the tone of voice, the authority that she uses when she does that, and she kind of really made the distinction between how she talks with her friends and how she talks when she's kind of in a boardroom or kind of talking to the senior execs, her clients at work. It's very different because she knows that she has to have and has to exude authority in those conversations at work. So she took that into her Substack voice, which is very much a part of her. It's just not one that she normally brings into conversations with friends or with other people that she's connecting with outside work. But actually what kind of came out in our conversation is that tone of voice, that voice that she uses with that authority, it's very compelling, is really, really well suited to what she wants to do in her Substack, which is to shine a light on things that happen in maybe at work or in organisations. She's also kind of told us a bit about how she wants to shine a light on kind of what's going on in kind of around wealth and around kind of how people talk about, maybe people who talk about, kind of quitting a job and earning a six-figure salary by, within a year, what's really going on there, and what actually works for people and how wealth really looks from the inside rather than just when you're looking at it from the outside. And actually, she's settled on a tone of voice that is very much hers. She doesn't have to work at it. She's honed that. That's part of her identity. And two, she's settled on a tone of voice that really suits the kind of conversation, the stuff that she wants to share. So it might be different to other people that she admires, but it's very much hers and it very much works for what she's trying to do. And that theme really carried on through the Sparkle session with Neema explaining how she's been experimenting and exploring how she creates her Substack and what she wants to write about. And she's got a good sense of if there's something she feels if she doesn't feel right about, she feels too uncomfortable about sharing, maybe it's a bit too personal or it kind of highlights a situation that someone else might well recognise themselves in, because she anonymises everything, and if she's going to talk about a situation she's lived through, then she'll kind of be very careful about how much she shares. If it feels too much, she sits on it, she doesn't share it. But it sounds like she's got actually a really kind of good discernment around where her boundaries are around that, what's too much to share, what's kind of what's good to share. So I think that's really, really interesting as well. And she said herself, this is something she's working out as she goes. It's not like she kind of started writing knowing everything about how it was going to be and how it was going to work for her. She's working on it as she goes. So that sense of, I think the thing that really came out really strongly was that sense of doing it her way and doing it in ways where she's, comfortable enough. It's not always entirely comfortable because growth isn't, but comfortable enough. And And I think, and we had such an interesting chat about the tensions for female founders and solo founders about creating content, balancing kind of content that's about our business with content that's more personal and saying what we really want to say and you know, versus worrying about alienating people or pissing people off. So we had just the most lovely conversation. It was absolutely fabulous after knowing Neema and having a virtual coffee every month or so for 2 years to have her as a Sparkle session speaker. And yeah, so the next we're going to have a bit of a break over the summer. The next ones will be in autumn, and I'm working out the programme as we speak so we can get dates in your diaries early for those of you who like to kind of get stuff booked in. And yeah, if you've got any suggestions for topics that you'd really like to cover or speakers who you think we really need to hear from, send them my way. Let me know.